And we are back. It's your man Odell, aka ArtbyOdell. We are joined by my special guest. Let me introduce him properly, right? So this is someone that I met years back. Where it's funny, like I really didn't even know, not even knowing about his music. He was just somebody that I would see at similar events, similar parties. You start recognizing face, and you're like, okay, this person's pretty cool. They hang around a lot of the same people that I hang around with, right? So then introduced to his music from actually having him walk into the studio and interview him for the Beats and Lyrics show. Shout out to Jay Forrest, shout out to Twice Born, Carmen Breezy. That having him come in the studio and actually really formally meeting him and hearing his music and being a chance to talk with him and seeing all the stuff he had going on. Jay has been supporting him for a long, long time, right? And then even going to when we celebrated 15-year anniversary of the Beats and Lyrics show, I had just forgot about that. He was one of the people there who performed for our stage for A3C, tore it down. We surprised the first time in history. Jay Force was left speechless. The first time, we handed Jay an award for a plaque celebrating the 15 years of doing Beats and Lyrics on Atlanta radio, and me and Twice Born said, I think this is the first time we've ever heard Jay have a microphone and have nothing to say. So that was very impressive for him to take part in that, right? So, and although, he is someone who represents, East Point to the fullest, right? I found out this through time, he's a very, very well-traveled brother who has done tours not only through the U.S., but also all over the U.K., all over Europe, touring with great artists, all over the place, right? And even though he has done travels all over the place and worked with different artists, he works, of course, with so many great Atlanta artists, but also he has a diverse catalog that's even had him working with people like Dog Pound's own Corrupt, right? A very, very talented cat, someone that I am thankful to know, right? So without further ado, let me introduce the man who I proudly say a lot of times when people ask who are some of my favorite MCs out of Atlanta, I always love to bring up his name. We have Yamin Semali in the house. How you doing, brother?
My brother, man. Appreciate the intro, man.
No doubt, man. You got a lot going on, man. I always appreciate that about you, brother.
Man, appreciate it.
No, I want to start with East Point, right?
Yes.
Because here's the funny thing. We think about East Point, myself, and even a lot of people probably outside of Atlanta, their first time even hearing the words East Point or at being a city or a spot was on them early Outkast records when they're shouting out all the things, East Point.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So speak about East Point and how that helped shape you and mold you as an MC and as a person, man.
I got to East Point in '93.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My mom bought a house out there, and that was when I was starting 6th grade, I think.
Wow,
yeah, 6th grade.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what I was doing in '93. And I ain't going to ask Jay Black what he was doing in '93. We're not even going to go there.
But yeah, I had been a foster kid for a period of time. I don't really talk about. People don't really know that about me.
Okay.
When I got back with my mom, she moved to Atlanta, and we did some time in a couple other places.
Carolina or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's where I was born.
Okay,
Carolina.
okay.
But my mom got here and struck out on her own. We was like in Wheat Street Gardens for a minute, which is like where Truly Living Well Farm used to be downtown.
Okay.
Before they moved it out to East Point. Ironically, they moved to East Point. She had a house in Stone Mountain that then we spent a little time there for like a year or two, and then we ended up in East Point.
Yeah.
And that's around the time when really Players Boss video had just came out. Around that time, like I remember almost vividly, like being in the attic and having BET on Rap City and seeing the Outkast video for Players Ball, and they talking about where I just moved to, and I knew nothing about it until I moved there, and then they dropped within weeks it felt like, you know what I mean? Because the Christmas song, the Players Ball was a Christmas joint for the face joint.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
I used to always spend Christmas with my family in North Carolina.
Wow.
And then I come back and I'm like, wow, this is where I live now. It was kind of weird. It was weird. It was really surreal. It just felt like they was talking to me.
Right.
Because I was like, what is it? What is East Point?
What is East Point? Wow.
They told me. They gave me the
blueprint.
Tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, cause like I said, I mean, you listen back to those records, and like I said, I don't even want to talk about where I was at 93. But I'll just say I was in college actually. I was doing my thing. I remember one of my good friends, Tony from Chicago. And I remember him coming to me and was like, Outkast. He was like, they're from Atlanta? He was like, what's in Atlanta? You know what I'm saying? Because he's from Chicago. He just did not really know what was going on in Atlanta. Now, speaking of that, right, staying on Outkast. And like you said, I mean, that record, especially when they shouting out all the places, Decatur, East Point, College Park, all that kind of stuff, right? What I liked about everything and about Outkast, how they blew up, was that it helps show another side of the South, right? Especially when you think about like Dre, him being so eclectic and diverse, right? Because when it comes to South, sometimes outside of just Southern areas, it's almost that stereotype assumption of either like super country or something like that. And I mean, to this day, people are very surprised when I tell them I'm from Montgomery, Alabama.
Right.
But thing is that most people from Montgomery, Alabama don't talk like you see on these TV, you know what I'm saying? Stereotypes as well, right? So speak on how, because Outkast gets so much credit for this promoting the South, but I feel like they don't get enough credit for just really showing the diversity of Atlanta and just the southern region, man.
It was for them and just hip hop at that time. It really was regional sounds because it wasn't no like blueprint to make a hit yet.
Right. Okay. That's a great point.
That's just one thing I miss about the culture. The music can change. It's always going to change. People get stuck and they be like, I like this 90s style. I like these break beats chopped up. They like certain aesthetics that they miss. But I don't even care about that as much as the fact that people don't really like boutique their music like that no more. You know what I mean?
Everybody, they're scared to, You
know what I mean? They
follow the formula with the blueprint.
Exactly. So that was really important for that to happen at that time, in my opinion. I remember just being a kid and people was really just hyped that somebody was from here. Yeah. Like I think they would have been hyped for almost anybody at the time just because of the shock of the culture being presented that way on a good level, on a Babyface, L.A. Reid production quality level.
Right.
And I'm thankful that it went down like that, just to give us more to aspire to as young guys around this town.
Exactly, and I think that's a great thing too. I mean, because even people like myself, and even being in Alabama, right? Like it inspired the whole area. Because, especially a lot of things that Big Boy, where he would wear and dress, I'm like, okay, that looks like somebody I know from the crib.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the fashion, I mean, just
football socks.
Yeah, the football socks and all the flip-flops. Like, these were things that we were doing. Yeah. And what I liked about it, too, they were unabashed about it. They were like, okay, listen, I know people are doing this in New York and L.A., and that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And they still had a lot of love from that. Even that Diddy was like directing some of their videos. Like they came in the right way. You know what I mean? But just from reading and watching their interviews and seeing that it wasn't just like a cakewalk either. Because New York is, even to this day, is they got the pride of the birthplace of hip hop.
Right.
And Cali, having performed in Cali a lot myself, I know. They give me a lot of love. I don't want that to be mistaken, but they will just watch you on stage.
Right.
It ain't like a turn up. They watching you. So it's kind of like, am I doing my thing?
Right. They're studying it.
Yeah, they study, but then you figure out what's what like over time. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just we had to do it in our own kind of way, and I think that kept hip hop alive, man. Just the out the trunk. Mentality, what I mean?
I love what you said about the boutique of it, because that is so true. Whether it was what all the artists did coming out of Memphis, whether it's even going back to MC Breed and Flint, Michigan, and Detroit and all that kind of, like, people were like, okay, because I was like, where the hell's Flint, Michigan?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm
they
saying?
concocted a whole sound for you to even just like say I moved to Flint, Michigan when that dropped.
Right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Like if
right.
I moved to where Dayton family was from, and that
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
these stories was being told, and they're very similar stories because drugs and absentee parenthood, like
Right, right.
we all
Just
came up out of that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
know what it is, and it kind of connected us. But everybody had their own stamp on how they got down. You know what I mean? And I wish. Sometimes I wish I heard more of that, but that's what I'm here for. I get to make what I like.
Exactly. Well, on the roundtable, we discuss relationships and building great relationships and working with people. Speaking of the music industry, we both know it very well from different sides of it. Me more on the media, radio side. You definitely as an artist, but not just as a performing artist, but as a DJ, as a producer, all these different things, right? So we talk about how to build and have great relationships, but sometimes this music business can be a dirty game, right? I mean, even on the media side and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Jay Black as somebody who does video content, things like that. Sometimes it's not always beautiful.
I can imagine,
right? So this game, but we still love it, right? And we love what we've done. But how do you stay focused and stay hyped with it, and build? Because you've done a great job building great relationships. So how do you deal with that, and also deal with when it does go bad? Because you've had instances of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I think you have to. It's a ratio thing. Like, to me, when I say ratio, I think like somebody told me the other day. They called me something that I really have been. It's been reverberating in my head. He called me a lifer. Right. So he was just saying like, you just gonna be doing music, dog. That's what you do.
Right.
So when I say ratio, you got to have a lot of lifers around you, bro.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You got to know they lifers, man. You got to know like this is what they gonna be doing. Like,
man.
You know what I mean? That's just whatever your field is, your discipline, whatever industry you in. Stick with the lifers. But don't force yourself to be in nobody's company. But I would say if you're not around lifers, it's better to be by yourself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or
right,
keep that
right.
ratio high. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
4 to 1. If you got 5 homies, 4 need to be lifers.
Yeah.
And 1 can be around for a good time. You know what I'm saying? But if you got 4 homies that's around for a good time and 1 lifer around you.
It could be
interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that too, because man, I got a message on my LinkedIn page, and not that I'm giving plugs or anything, but I know, right? It sounded so commercial. Trust me, I'm not getting paid for that. But I got a message, and it was from a brother who used to be one of my old supervisors back in my old corporate job days, right? And I remember he just hit me up, and it was very simple. He was just like, he had commented me on something I had got some time at, but then he hit me back, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I see you still doing this podcast thing." Yeah. And I was just like, "Yeah, I guess I am." You know what I'm saying? Like you said, because I think in his mind, I mean, it was a compliment, I think, but at the same time too, I'm thinking the way he said it also is like, I haven't seen you on maybe national TV yet or anything like that, but you're still going.
Yeah. It blows people's minds sometimes. You know what I mean? Especially, don't let them see you doing something better and better every time.
Right.
I mean, I got homies from high school who have just bought my discography. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just giving as an example. Like, I've been doing it a long time. I know this person for about as long as I've been going, and he just bought my music. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. No. But I'm just saying, if you're always going, bro, like, people from 20 years ago can still be your number 1 fan today. You know what I'm saying? Or become your number 1 fan after not even hearing you, but just seeing your dedication and then hearing the dedication.
Also, let me speak to that too, man, because what Yamin is saying, which is so true, and I had to learn, and I continue to learn. And I shout out to, mentors like Jay Force and people, DV1, people like that who have told me, you have to keep creating.
Yeah, you do.
And people, it's amazing when people find you sometimes, because I do the same thing. Sometimes you hear about some YouTube sensation or somebody like that, and you go back and you watch videos from 2 years ago that they created content from. Yeah. You're like, oh, like little funny skits or something. And the only way you're going to have that is if you keep creating. So I've had, stuff where people go back, they're like, oh, snap. I mean, I have people like just like you said, they'll find something like, oh man, I didn't know you interviewed so and so at A3C 2013.
Yeah, it's there, and yeah, it speaks volumes, and it even speaks higher to the fact that they just peeped it sometimes.
Right.
Because it's it's a lot of artists. It's 2 ears on your head, and it's a million.
It's a
rappers.
dude. It's a lot. So, listen, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk more about Yamin's music, also some of his travels and everything like that. Of course, ask him about how he builds great relationships and everything like that. So listen, it's your man Odell, aka ArtbyOdell. I'm here with Yamin Semali. Odell's Roundtable will be right back.